Namo Buddhaya. Most respected Venerable Santini Mahatheri, most respected Venerable Dhammananda Mahatheri, Bhikkhuni, Bhikkhus, and our Dhamma friends. Welcome you all to our Vinaya class, Application of Vinaya in Contemporary World. Thank you very much indeed for joining our Vinaya class this evening. First of all, let me tell you about background to the class. Last year, Mahā Bodhi Society of India, MBSI, in collaboration with United Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha International, UTBSI, organized a Dhamma program throughout the years for the benefit of all. With great respect for the Buddha's teaching, this year, MBSI and UTBSI plan to organize a series of Vinaya class throughout the year on the 9th of May to November, once a month. The Vinaya class, the Buddha gave to us was more than 2,500 years ago, but with different contexts and circumstances. Nowadays, how could we apply the Vinaya? Our class will run according to the 7th section in Patimokkha. The first section, Parachika, was on May the 9th. The second one, Sangha was on June the 9th. This one is the third section, Nissaggiya Pacittiya, dealing mainly with handling ropes and bows, gold and silver, and business exchange. At this juncture, it deems appropriate. May I request Most Venerable Santini, UTBSI coordinator from Indonesia, to grace and bless our class. Venerable Santini, would you please? Not sharing the we not yet sharing the PowerPoint. Venerable Santini, are you there? No. Okay. So may I proceed? If most venerable not there, let me introduce to you our speaker tonight. Next slide, please. Venerable Vijayani. Next slide, please. Venerable Vijayani. I cannot move the slide. Venerable Vijayani, are you there? Could you move to next slide, please? Thank you very much. Our speaker tonight, Venerable Dhammananda Mahatheri, Abbess of Songdhammakalyanī Monastery, Thailand. Next one, please. Next one, please. Yes, thank you. Venerable Dhammananda Mahatheri, previously known as Associate Professor Dr. Chasuman Kabilasi, he holds a BA Honors in Philosophy from Visvabharati University, Santiniketan, India, and MA in Religions from McMaster University, Canada, and a PhD in Buddhist Studies, Magadh University, India. He taught Buddhism and Eastern philosophy at Thammasat University, Bangkok, for 27 years, from 1973 to 2000. With strong academic background, she is an author and translator of more than 100 books. The two books regarding Vinaya drawn from her dissertation are, next slide please, a comparative study of Bhikkhuni Patimokkha and the Bhikkhuni Patimokkha of the Sixth School. She received higher ordination from Sri Lanka in 2003 and became the first fully ordained Theravada Bhikkhuni in Thailand. She gave ordination to more than 1,000 samarii as of April 6th. Now, may I request Venerable Dhammananda Mahā Therī to share your knowledge and experience with us. Venerable, please.
Greetings. Allow me to pay respect first to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I bow with respect to the Buddha. Now today we are going to be talking about Vinaya. Allow me to also pay respect to Venerable Upali. I will do a chanting, a very short chanting. Maybe you have not heard of this one. It was composed in India some 200 years ago. It's long verses, but the part that I'm exerting from this long verses is number 83, which focus on Venerable Upali. It goes like this. Apati anapatiya sate kichaya govito vinaye akanikito upali satu wanito vinaye pararipato vinayako jaro muni karo tuno mahasanting sotiya rokayang tathatuno. This is to pay respect to Venerable Upali. Venerable Upali was one of the two senior bhikkhus who were at the first council. Venerable Upali recited all the Vinaya, and Venerable Ananda recited Sutta. So therefore, at the time of the first council, which was 3 months after the Buddha's death, there were only two Dhamma Vinaya. And also in a dialogue, which we discovered that Venerable Ananda was asking the Buddha, what happened if the Buddha should pass away? Who would be leading us? The Buddha said, Ananda, I already gave you this Dhamma Vinaya. So allow Dhamma Vinaya to be Deepa. Deepa means island, something for you to hold on to. So during the first council, we have Dharma and Vinaya. Also, I should say the other way, Vinaya and Dharma. Only 500 years later, when the text was written down, the text was passing on from words to words. Teachers would be teaching their students by words through memory. They have good memory. So by 500 years afterwards, in Sri Lanka, then only they started to write down. But when they started writing down, this is when you have Vinaya, Sutta, and Abhidhamma. It's called the three baskets. The three baskets. The three baskets meaning collection of the three teachings, so to say, because the teaching of each one of them would be put in different basket. This one is written on the tal, on palm leaf, and it's put on this one basket. This one is the teaching of the Buddha, Dhamma, put on another basket like that. That's why we call the Tripitaka the three baskets. The three baskets. Now I would like to pay respect to behind UTBSI. The one behind us is Venerable P. Sivali, Secretary General of Mahā Buddhist Society. I bow to him with respect. The Bhikkhu Sangha, I also pay respect to the Bhikkhu Sangha who have been supporting directly and indirectly for us, for the Bhikkhuni Sangha to emerge. I'm talking about Theravada, not Mahayana, because in Mahayana they have Bhikkhunis long time ago. I pay respect to UTBSI coordinators. The one from United States is Venerable Tathaloka Mahā Therī. The one from Indonesia, Venerable Santini. Just now we heard her voice. Venerable Santini from Mahā Therī from Indonesia. From Vietnam, we have Venerable Dr. Liu Phap. Her Theravada name is Vidita Thamma, also a doctor. And then in Australia and Sri Lanka, we have Venerable Bodhicitta. And from Malaysia, we have Venerable Sumangala. In Thailand, apart from myself, the oldest one in age, not in Vasa, in age, I have also my assistant, that is Venerable Dr. Therī, who is known as Venerable Dhamma Paripurna, who is actually, helping us with this particular class. More important of all, I would like to thank our audience from various parts of the world to join us tonight. Vinaya class is not a class to teach you Vinaya as such, but it is more sharing. It is more sharing, and the attitude towards Vinaya is very important. How are we to keep the Vinaya intact? At the same time, practicable. Imagine that Vinaya was written down, was given by the Buddha 2000, almost 600 years ago. And now the time has passed. The world has changed so greatly. So how are we to truly respect the Vinaya, at the same time make it possible for us to keep it alive? So that's why we have this class. So the class is not just simply teaching, but please understand that it is more of a sharing. Tonight, in the Bhikkhuni Vinaya, we have 7 sections, and we have already covered 2 sections, 2 main sections, which is Parajika. Parajika is very important because once when you have done mistake against that, you are no more Bhikkhu, you are no more Bhikkhuni, it's dead. You know, it's a death sentence for Bhikkhus and Bhikkhunis. Then we have the next one is Sanghadisesa. We have also discussed that. These 2 major topics, 2 major sections, the 2 major sections supposed to be very, very important, very serious. Today, we talk about Nissaggiya Pacittiya. Talk about things which belong to us. Monastics, you know, we don't have many things. We have only the bowl, we have the robes and little things. Now, these things that we have gathered, these things that we are supposed to be the owner, sometimes we take it, we got it by mistake. So therefore, Nissaggiya, things which we have gathered wrongly, must be returned to the Sangha. So tonight, we are dealing with this part of the Vinaya. There are 30 rules, 30 Nissaggiya rules. Interestingly, in the Theravada Nissaggiya Pacittiya, they put the Bhikkhuni first, and then the one that is common to both Bhikkhus and Bhikkhunis, that is called Satharana. Satharana means for public, that is for both Bhikkhus and Bhikkhunis. And then the one which is Asatharana, that is particularly for the monks or particularly for the Bhikkhunis. You know, we have 12. We have 12 Asatharana, and we have 18 common public that we share for both Bhikkhus and Bhikkhunis. Now sometimes we have misunderstanding. This I heard from senior Bhikkhunis. They believe that the 227 precepts for the Bhikkhus, all that deal with the Bhikkhus. We don't have to study. We study only after the 227 to 311. That is the Bhikkhunis part. So we should pay respect to that one. This is wrong. I have to say this is wrong. The attitude is we have to study what the monks have learned from the Buddha directly. We have also to follow those rules which the monks keep. Some of them only for the monks, some of them only for us Bhikkhunis. So therefore, it is not true that all the 227 for the monks that we don't keep. No, that is not true. So among these Nissaggiya Pacittiya, the 30 Nissaggiya Pacittiya, 10 rules deal with the robes. In the olden days, robe is very, very difficult to find. So it is something that there are rules that go into details. Now these rules, sometimes we have to laugh because now we go to the shop and buy ready-made robe. So all those rules which were described to us in the text, it seems as though it is nonsense. We don't use it anymore, so to say. But when we study the Vipanka, we study the history behind how these rules were made, then we understand. So that's why I say it is very important that we follow the rules by the spirit. We understand the spirit of the rules. Only when understand the spirit of the rules, which we have to do it through studying Vipanka, reading the Vipanka, reading the story, reading the history behind these rules. And we have all the rules. We have stories behind them. Very interesting. Very interesting. So we have about, did I say 10? I think it's 16. And then we have 2 for the bowl, 1 for medicine, and 8 for exchange. Sometimes women change their mind.
Next slide, please.
Easily, like that, So you go to buy something, and then you don't like it, you go back and I don't like this, I would like to change for that. When you do that often, as a lay person, it's okay. But as a monastics, the owner of the shop start disliking. Oh, this Bhikkhuni, every time when he comes, he always very problematic Bhikkhunis. I don't want to deal with Bhikkhunis, So for us, we should not do like that. We should not be choosy. Sometimes when I travel in India, I also got the bad habit. As a layperson, I live in India for a long time. And how we have to struggle through the street and how they tell lies, and just for their business, and how you respond to them negatively. As a layperson, it was okay, but sometimes I forgot that now I am a monastic. I cannot reply to them the way I used to reply to them before, So this we have to have this consciousness that we are now Bhikkhunis. Then three rules deal with gold and silver. In the robes, when we deal with the robes, we have the sanghati. The sanghati, for the samaneri, you don't have the sanghati yet. But for the Bhikkhunis, the sanghati is the robe, exactly the same robe, but it is sewn double. So therefore, sanghati is very thick, and usually you would see the Bhikkhunis, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis have the sanghati properly fold and put it on their shoulder, on their left shoulder. The way we fold sanghati it is not the way we fold the jivara. We have to learn. We have to learn that, So we have to do it properly. And then we have Uttara Sangha. Uttara Sangha or Jivara, same. Uttara Sangha, this robe that we cover ourselves. And then we have Antravasika. Antravasika, that is the one that we wear. And then we have Sankachika. Sankachika is actually a long piece of rope, that we tighten our breast, so that our breasts do not show. But now usually we sew, and it looks like a vest that we tighten our breast. And modern in the modern market, you can buy what you call it, sport bra. Sport bra now is being used in the place of Sankachika. Many of the Bhikkhunis use as Sankachika. But in the olden days, it's a long piece of cloth that they tighten by wrapping around our breast many times, so that it is tightened. And then we have Uddaka Satika, that is the bathrobe. The bathrobe, do you remember the story? How it was introduced to the Sangha by Visakha. So for the Bhikkhunis, we use this, the bathrobe, to wear it under our Adravasaka. It works like a petticoat. Otherwise, the Andravasaka sometimes it gets thin. So the bathrobe works like it is a second layer underneath, so it works like a petticoat. Now, these robes, when it is torn, you are supposed to mend it. We cannot go wearing torn robes, You have to do it within 5 to 6 days, not beyond that. If it is beyond, then that it is a transgression. So when you read how we have to treat ourselves, how we have to treat our jivara, you see the spirit behind it, that we cannot just be wearing rag jivara, we have to take care of our jivara. The time of tsunami, I went to visit a monk. He was a
Fisherman.
A fisherman, no? It's a tribe. It's a tribe of fishermen, very few of them would be ordained. But in that particular place where I visited, the abbot was a fisherman before. And he showed us his robe. His robe were torn many places, but well patched. I would say more than 50 places, where he actually patched his robe. I really appreciate that as a fisherman before, he really pay respect to the Vinaya, and the Vinaya on the way he keep the jivara was intact. And then now we talk about the bowl. The bowl usually in those days made from baked clay. Of course, then it breaks easily. So we have so many rules dealing with how you keep the bowl. You are not supposed to keep the bowl on a high shelf because it falls. And when it falls, it got broken. And it is not easy to find a bowl. And how are you going to eat without the bowl? So there are many rules dealing with the bowl, with understanding that the bowl in those days were usually made from baked clay and it breaks easily. And then you don't have extra bowl, should not have extra bowl. Suppose if your own bowl has cracks, if your bowl is cracked, you cannot go and get the new one unless and until the crack is serious, something like more cracks, more than 5 cracks, only then you are allowed to have the second bowl. But if your bowl does not have 5 cracks yet and you change for a new bowl, that bowl is Nissaggiya Pacitti. The new bowl will be Nissaggiya Pacitti, something that you have to return to the Sangha. Now, in the set of Nissaggiya Pacitti, it's very interesting. I mentioned earlier that the way they arrange it for the Theravada, they arrange the 12 rules for the Bhikkhunis and the 18 rules, common rules, later. They address the Bhikkhunis first and then common rules. 18 common rules follow the 12th one. But I studied other sect, and in other sect, in all other sects, they have the common rules first, and then they have the Theravada. The one for Bhikkhunis. Yes, the one for Bhikkhunis. That's how we study the Nissaggiya Pacittiya. Yes, and misunderstanding, I mentioned this earlier, misunderstanding that the Bhikkhunis, many of the Bhikkhunis believe that we don't have to study the Bhikkhu's rules, Sikkhapada. No, we have to study the Bhikkhu's rule. Very interesting, when we read the Nissaggiya Pacittiya, according to the listing, we will find that Nissaggiya Pacittiya for the monks, number 4. That was the time when the Bhikkhuni already started. We remember that the Bhikkhunis joined the order 5 years after the Bhikkhus. So therefore, by that time, the Bhikkhus already have their first, second, third Nissaggiya Pacittiya. But when they have the 4th one, that is the time that the Bhikkhuni join. We can really check. Yes, and now we look at how to say what we look at. Look at PowerPoint. Venerable Paripurna is so kind. She actually arranged this for me. BK is for Bhikkhus. The red one is for Bhikkhus, and BKN for Bhikkhunis. We will see that she put it together. The one that is for Bhikkhus and the one is for Bhikkhunis. Like here on this page, you have the number 1 for the Bhikkhus is number 13 for the Bhikkhunis. Wearing an extra robe more than 10 days. One time, the story went like this. Whenever Ananda got an extra robe and he wanted to keep it in order for him to offer to Venerable Sariputra. And then he asked the Buddha how long he can keep it, because he wanted to offer to Venerable Sariputra. So the Buddha said that how long Venerable Sariputra is coming? About 10 days, So that's how you have these 10 days here. So you are not supposed to be keeping the extra robe more than necessary, so to say. The second one for the Bhikkhus and the number 14 for the Bhikkhunis is being separated from the 5 robes over a night. Of course, for the Bhikkhus, you have only 3 robes. For the Bhikkhunis, we have 5 robes. 5 robes, that is the Jivara, the one that we wear, the Sankhati, the double robe, and then the one that we wear below, that is Sabong, Antravasaka, and very important for the Bhikkhunis is Sankachika, the one that we tighten our breast. And actually we have another robe, that is not mentioned. That is the monthly robe. You read the story about the monthly robe and you will find that life in the Sangha is lots of sharing. You imagine you have menstruation. You don't have cloth to wear. So you have to go and get it from the Sangha. It's called monthly robe. When I was 15, I had an opportunity to still use this monthly robe. This came before we start having sanitary napkins. We used the old piece of cloth, cut it into half, and then fold it many times, until it become thick. It must be old material, old cloth. Absorb. Thank you. Absorb the blood easier. So we use this by tucking the end under the belt, and then it goes between your legs, and the other end you tuck it behind you. That is the monthly robe. Sometimes the Thai people call this time when women have menstruation, we call it she's riding a horse. She's riding a horse. So this monthly robe because they didn't have cloth, Cloth was very rare for the Bhikkhunis. So they, this one, Bhikkhuni A had menstruation for 4 days. Finished menstruation, she has to wash all those monthly robe and return to the Sangha. And the other members can use it. Imagine they shared the monthly robe in those days. Yes? Keeping robe material more than 1 month. Now, this one is Pangsukula Jivara, they go and collect pieces of cloth here and there that they think it will be good for them, They cut it into squares, wash them, cut them into square, and wait until they can actually stitch them all together to make a proper robe. But you cannot keep these pieces of cloth for more than 1 month. You have to have clear idea that you are going to finish sewing the robe within this 1 month. Yes? Otherwise, you become collector of cloth. It goes on endlessly. The next one, asking for robe from non-relative. In our Vinaya, we emphasize very much on relative. We can ask from our relative, but we cannot ask from others. And this has to do, I think, with faith. People have faith in you, and people come and offer you something. And even faith has, limited time. Like someone offer you, oh, Venerable Mother, I would like to offer this to you. After 4 months, she has to repeat again. If she does not repeat, I, as a Bhikkhuni, cannot ask her, in spite of the fact that she may once offered me to offer so and so. But after 4 months, I should not ask. Why? Because faith also fades away. When faith fades away, then that person may get annoyed that we ask her. Yes? You see, when you study the Vinaya, it is so realistic, no? So realistic and so we have to be very mindful. Number 7 for the monks and number 14 for the Bhikkhunis, accepting robe on invitation more than the bare minimum. Yes, this is the same idea that I was talking earlier, that when somebody invited you, that they will be offering the robe, we have to be cautious. Do not ask for more, just the bare minimum. Next one, please. Desiring better robe offered by one person. Somebody came and offered you, oh Venerable, I would like to offer you a robe. She was thinking that she would like to pay something like 500 rupees. But then you ask for more, you ask for a much more expensive robe, So desiring better robe offered by one person is wrong. It's Nissaggiya, against Nissaggiya. The next one, desiring better robe offered by 2 persons. You have the host. This is two hosts. The first one is only 1 person. This one is 2 persons. The third one, asking for robe fund kept by attendant. Now this is interesting. Somebody came and wanted to offer you the robe, but she gave the money to the attendant of the temple, that this amount of money I put aside for Venerable Paripurna's robe. Then Venerable Paripurna wanted the robe and went to ask from this person, went to ask from attendant, not more than 3 times. Not more than 3 times. The 4th, the 5th, the 6th, she just go and stand there in front of him, in front of her, not saying anything. That person should know that, he or she has the fund to buy the robe for the Bhikkhunis. But if they do not do anything, do not give you the money, do not give you the robe, we as Bhikkhunis, we should go and tell the host, tell the one who offered, that I did not get the robe. Yes, this is how it is done. we are protected. We should not be fighting with the attendant. No use for us to fight for the attendant. So we don't do that. Making gold and silver, this one I'm not very sure. Making gold and silver, selling, bartering gold and silver. That's not our business. That's not the business of monastics, whether bhikkhus or bhikkhunis. The next one is engaging in transaction. Now it comes very clear. In transaction in gold and silver. Gold and silver are supposed to be expensive things in the olden days and now. And even now, so we are not bartering, we are not doing anything, we're not dealing with it. Yes, engaging in bartering. Now in bartering, again, I had an experience in India, I was just climbing the Kichikut, the mountain top to pay respect to the Buddha. And the boys came and they were selling me some beads. I didn't want it, but the Bhikkhunis who were with me, and she lived in India, so she's more, more conversant to the vendors. Oh, she really scolded the vendors and she was bartering, no, that's too much. This bartering is really not fitting. I look at her and I really think that it's really not fitting for us to be bartering, to be bargaining. No, not 5 rupees. No, only 2 rupees. Like that. As a monastic, it really does not look nice. Getting a new bowl in exchange for a bowl mended less than 5 places. Judging yourself, looking at yourself. You are doing this out of greed. If you are doing it out of greed, then you are against this particular rule. The next one is storing the medicine for more than 7 days. Now this is questionable. Particularly in this modern time, you go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes medicine for you for 1 month because the next appointment is next month, so you have to have medication for 1 month and you have to keep the medication. So we have to realize that in modern days, it is not. Please do not be so strict to this storing medicine for more than 7 days in the actual present situation. And then we were discussing whether salt is medicine or not. If you keep salt in the horn, that is that food or is it medicine? So we also have this kind of discussion that's going on, which I find is very interesting. Taking back the rope given to others. The rope, not roped. Taking back the rope given to others. You have already given the rope. I have already given the rope to Vinaya Paripurna. And then the next day, I don't like her anymore. She did something that I didn't like her. Then I went and I asked for the rope which I have already given her. That is not done. That is not done. We monastics, once we have given rope to someone, it is given. Dana. Dana is khatam ho gaya. Finished, done. It's already done. Asking for yarn to make rope material. I think this part is maybe they don't want us Bhikkhunis, to be weaving like the lay people, because that is a job. That is a lay people's job. Asking a weaver to make a better robe. Now somebody gave the weaver the money to make the robe for this bhikkhuni, Oh, please, I offer you just so much, 500 rupees to make robe for Venerable Dhammananda. Now Venerable Dhammananda came along and asked the weaver, make it better one, in spite of the fact that the host offered 500 rupees, but I was insisting on more, something like that. That is not done. Accepting special robe, keep until robe season. I am not sure of this particular rule. Special robe meaning the robe that is out of normal. You know, you're supposed to have one set of rope, and this special rope is extra. When you keep it, you can keep it only to certain period of time, but this keep until rope season. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sorry on this particular point. The next one, appropriating to herself benefit belonging to the order. This is clear. You know, something is offered to the Sangha, it is offered to the Sangha, not to you as a person. Do not take things which is offered to the Sangha as your own. Making a hoard of bowls, or some people just like to collect bowls, beautiful ones, colorful one. Actually, Venerable Nanda, the Buddha's younger brother, when he was first ordained, he used very fanciful bowl, and the Buddha commented that, oh Nanda, not only that he was using fancy bowls, he also put on, what you call it, you know how Indian people put on the kajal, yes, kind of eyeliner. No, kajal is like eyeliner. Actually, it is to soothe the eyes, but it also darken your eyes. The Buddha commented. Venerable Nanda heard about it. So since then, he stopped doing that. He stopped doing that completely. The next one, taking rope material not at the right time as the right time. Now this one I'm also confused about the right time. I think you can keep this rope material during Katina, after Katina, for 10 days, I think, for 10 days, not more than that. Not more than that. Please check me. I am not sure on this. Having got one thing exchanged for other belonging to an order, and she herself asked for. I think this is clear for you. Yes. Next one. This is now you start to see this is only for the Bhikkhunis. On the Bhikkhu side, on the red one, there is no letter, which means that now we are dealing with Nissaggiya Pacittiya, which occurred among the Bhikkhunis. Having got one thing exchanged for other belonging to a community. Having got one thing exchanged for other belonging to a community, she herself asked for. Having got one thing exchanged for other belonging to an individual, she herself asked for. You see, this is all out of greed. So we have to be very careful in dealing with things exchanged for oneself, things for the community, things for the Sangha. Number 11. Bargaining for heavy cloth, not more than 4 bronzes. You know, as monastics, we are supposed to use simple things. You know, this heavy cloth is the cloth that they use for winter. For winter, it's called heavy cloth. Bronze is the value of that time. Should not now. I just give you an example. You do not buy your towel more than 1,000 baht, say, you know, because the towel, the fancy one, you know, the towel could be very fancy one. For the rich people, it's always thick and soft and all that. But for us, you know, we don't have washing machine. It's very difficult for us. So for us, we should go for the simple one, 100, 200 towel. That's good enough. But for 1,000, value of 1,000, 2,000 for a towel, that is too much. So bargaining for heavy cloth, it should not be more than so and so amount of money. Bargaining for light cloth, this is for summer, should not be more than 2.5 bronzes. This is according to the value of money at that time. Next.
That's all.
Oh, yes. Oh, how are we doing with time? Oh, we are doing good with time. We still have some 20 minutes. Yes.
Could you stop sharing the screen, please, Venerable Vichayani? Thank you. So now, if anyone has any question regarding application of Nissaggiya Pacittiya in contemporary world, please feel free to put your question in the chat box or ask Venerable directly.
Not that I know, not that I know, but we can share. We can share the experience. Sometimes, when you follow the rules according to the words, that is difficult. We have to follow the rules according to the spirit. We have to understand the rules according to the spirit. Only then we can follow the rules properly, and how to say, practical in the real life. Now let me tell you about the bowl. In the olden days, when you ask for ordination, you have to have a bowl. That is a requirement, because if you don't have a bowl, when you eat from your hand. And during those days, there were another sect, Paripajika. They eat from their hand. They go and beg, and whatever they get on their palm, they come and eat. But it's not enough yet, so they have to go again, ask for more food on their palm and eat. And the Buddha saw this and thought that this is not proper for his monks to do. So he said that we must at least have utensil, and utensil which is appropriate for us is the bowl. So we use the bowl. There was this monk who did not have the bowl, and he was ordained. So next day he had to return his bowl to whoever he borrowed. So then he himself didn't have the bowl to eat. So that's why it become requirement for us when we are ordained that we must have the robe, our own robe, not borrowed one, and we must have the bowl, our own bowl. The bowl is the purpose for you to eat food properly. Now, Melissa, you go to 5-star hotel. Do you eat from your bowl? You go for breakfast. Imagine breakfast, in this 5-star hotel, and you carry your bowl, and then you put the food in your bowl, and then how are you going to wash your bowl? You understand? So you should have your bowl, but when you go to places, for sure, they have utensils for you. Just go and use utensils, just like how people use. I think this is how we are adjust ourselves to the modern world. Otherwise, it becomes very cumbersome, And when we travel, or do we have to have the bowl? Do we have to have the bowl? We still carry the bowl, particularly for the Theravada. We still carry our bowl. And for the forest monks, they use the bowl as their traveling bag, because when they walk in the rain, when they walk in the forest, it rains, so they put the rope and everything that would get soiled in the bowl. You see, but when you are not living in that kind of forest life, you have to adjust to the world outside and be more appropriate.
Thank you, Venerable, for sharing us your experience. And you remind me of last year, Venerable Sumankala also there. We have breakfast and lunch at the Mahā Buddhist Society of India with our newly ordained Bhikkhunis. And that time they still seminary, and they carry their bowl to take breakfast and lunch. And then we encounter with the problem that where could we wash this bowl? So probably to adjust to the situation, it might be more appropriate to use their plate or utensil provide for us, so we don't need to looking for some place to clean the bowl.
I always look for the monks, there are always monks. There are our brothers, as we eat in Mahā Buddhist Society in Bodh Gaya, there are a line of monks, our host. So we just glance and see what our hosts are doing. They eat from the plate. So we also eat from the plate. We don't try to be more strict than the monks. The monks eat from the plates, and that's the utensils used in that particular place, so we follow them. And it is much easier for the one who serve us, Once we finish food, they just come and just collect the dishes, and that's much, much easier for them.
Can I have a question? One more. Sometimes when we travel without our bowls, and then the host provide us with a bowl so we can. How could we use that without transgress? Because we have our own bowl.
Yes. Thank you. So there is a technique to do that, So we adhitan, we make a determination of this bowl, the one that is offered to us to use for certain time that we are staying in this monastery, and we make adhitan. But this adhitan determination, you make determination that this bowl has two ownership, not yours only, but also it belongs to others. So while you are using it, you finish using it, you return the bowl to the Sangha for others to use. So it's not your bowl is back in your temple. Yes. There is ways of making determination, which is called adhitan.
Any question?
I have a question.
Please.
Okay, in Thai, in the practice in Thailand, in the olden days, because we used this bowl with clay bowl, So every time when they washed the bowl, they would lift up the bowl and look at the bowl against the sun. The sun is up like that, just to see whether there is any crack in the bowl or not. But now all of us are using stainless bowl, but still we still look against the sun, we followed people by not understanding why they did it. Now it is no more clay bowl, but we are still lifting the bowl like this, looking whether there is any hole coming through the stainless bowl. So that is the funny part. We always make joke about people who do like that, and compared to how do we say, like you do not know the reason behind it, but you keep doing it.
Yes. At the moment, I think we have one question from the floor. Okay, would you please? You raise your hand.
Namaskar, Mongme. Namaskar to all of the venerables and to all of the other friends, Dhamma friends. First of all, thank you very much, Venerable Dhammananda, for the talk. It's very interesting. So thank you. I actually have two questions, if it's okay, if we have time. The first is about the bowl. I was under the impression that a bhikkhu and a bhikkhuni had to be served their food, that they couldn't go and take their food. So when you do travel, how do you deal with that when there's a buffet or something like that? You go to the buffet and you just serve yourself and try not to eat too much? I mean...
that people have to offer you. I mean, when you stay in a 5-star hotel, breakfast is paid. Breakfast is paid for you already, So when you go and take food, you are allowed to take food, Now, I saw this happen, so it is very funny. So the monk, the Theravada monk, very strict. He is not supposed to take food himself. So what he would walk around, and then eventually he would ask the waiter. So one waiter had to follow behind him. He would take one piece of this, take one piece of this, take one piece of this. So it comes to the same thing now. Whether you take it yourself or you ask someone to take it for you, it comes to the same thing, and it is more awkward more awkward when you are in that situation. The waiter has so many things to do and you're being unkind to him to add him to the extra work. You see, so this is how we look at things, and we really have to understand. We have to understand. Another issue is about handling money. Some newly ordained Bhikkhunis want to be very strict, not holding money. But we have to use money, We have to use money when we travel together. I was sitting in a car with this one Bhikkhuni, and she was saying to my student was serving me in that time, make sure we have some water to drink. Who is paying for this? Understand? If you are really strict not to handle money, you have to be strict not to spend money. And if you spend money out of somebody else's pocket, it is stealing. Right? So we have to really think about it in a more practical way. Venerable Puna, I see another hand, Ariya Vihara.
From Venerable Sumankala, Ariya Vihara, please.
Good evening, Venerable. I'm Samaneri Arya Vimalani here. My question is, if for a bhikkhuni, because modern alms bowl is stainless steel, but then if it is dented, maybe dropped and then dented, and the devotee will offer a new one, so can the bhikkhuni actually change it or still accept, but then have to give it to the sangha?
Dented is dented.
Dented you can use that.
Dented you can still use it. And nothing leak from your bowl.
Yeah, no leakage. But then let's say because out of good faith, the devotee want to offer. Then if the devotee see why I offer and yet she's not using, so will this affect the devotee's faith to the sangha?
You have to explain to her. When I was newly ordained, you cannot imagine. I was receiving new robe every week. And then the next week, when the owner who offered the robe came, she said, "Venerable, you are not wearing my robe." Imagine if I do according to her wish, I would be like a model,
new robe.
changing the robe every week. So our devotees have to also understand the monastic rules that we have to go by. Otherwise, we get spoiled. And the worst thing when we get spoiled is that we are letting down the teaching, the spirit of the Vinaya.
Continue. Is it on? Okay. So in this case, actually, what is the historical background regarding these rules? Especially like you're talking about extra rope and this extra, not to have anything extra.
Read in the Vibhanga. Vibhanga is in the Vinaya part. In Thai version, we have 8 volumes in the Vinaya. In English would be lesser, but please do read in the Vibhanga. Vibhanga give the story of each rule. If originally it happened with the monks, then you go and read Vibhanga from the monks. And if it happened among the Bhikkhunis, then you go and read Vibhanga in the Bhikkhunis. Yes, very interesting.
So, I mean, in modern society now, how can we observe these rules, Nissaggiya, in modern times? Do we still have to really follow exactly what is written in the books?
That is exactly what I said. Understanding the spirit of the rules and follow the spirit more than following the words, because the words is being tied down to space and time. That is 2,600 years ago. So we have to read and understand the spirit. Why the Buddha said, let down this. You know, why did he set down these rules? Oh, because it is so and so. Then when you understand the spirit of the rules, you know, you can practice. You can practice much better than practice according to the words.
Yeah, to follow the spirit of it. But then for different, maybe different tradition or different people may have different understanding of what is the spirit. If they just follow the spirit and not the words, right?
When the first time when I was ordained, you know, and then I was invited to New York to speak. The ticket was 40,000 baht. As soon as I landed in New York, Thai people really criticized me for traveling alone. I said, I don't want to be traveling alone, but are you going to pay me another ticket for another person to follow me, 70,000 baht? If you are doing that, then you will really help me to keep the Vinaya according to the words. Yes?
Yeah, I understand.
And the rule says that you do not travel alone in those days in the forest. But in this modern days, someone drove me to the airport. At the airport, I had more than 5,000 people there at the airport. And when I boarded the plane, there were more than 300 people on the plane, on the aircraft. And when I landed in New York, there were thousands of people at the airport. I was never alone.
Not alone, yeah.
Literally alone in the way in the Vinaya meant.
Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions?
Is there time for one more quickly, or if
Yes,
somebody
one more quickly. Yes.
else has a question, I can wait because I already asked one. But
Yes.
may I
Yes,
ask?
please.
Okay,
Last
thank you.
question.
Okay, sorry, I'll be very quick.
Okay.
Venerable Dhammananda, you were mentioning about how women, for the Bhikkhunis, have to wrap a cloth around their breasts very tightly. So my first question would be, the first thought that came to me is, how do you breathe properly, especially when you're doing anapanasati? That would be very, I mean, I understand the reason, but you have to cover your breath. That's logical, common sense. Obviously, that has to be done. But if you have something pressing on you like that, also for health purposes, it might not be that healthy. But how do you breathe? I mean, somebody's smiling. I see another bhikkhuni, they're smiling. So, yeah, how do you, when you're doing anapanasati or something, you know, you can't.
When you come to Thailand, I will show you my vest. My vest really wrap under the breast, and I can breathe properly.
Okay.
I can breathe properly. I will show you how we sew the vest. The vest. So to keep our breast, our valuable breast, intact.
What a lively class. Yes, I think it seems like our Nissaggiya Pacittiya sections of Vinaya class has come to an end. Let me conclude this section. In a nutshell, there are 30 rules of Nissaggiya Pacittiya in both Bhikkhus and Bhikkhuni Patimokkha. 18 common or shared rules, 12 rules for Bhikkhuni only, and 12 rules for Bhikkhu only. Of those for the Bhikkhunis, 16 rules concerning robe and the proper time and manner to obtain them, 2 rules concerning the baking bowl, 1 rules concerning medication, 8 rules concerning business exchange, and 3 rules concerning gold and silver. Although Nissaggiya Pacittiya sections is considered not as serious as Parachika and Sankadisesa, but it is very important for living in harmony among Sangha members and between monastic and lay people. On top of that, this rule can be thought of as preventive measure for greedy monastic not to run a business exchange. This is not a monastic business. We are so grateful to Most Venerable Dhammananda Mahā Therī for sharing her accumulated knowledge and experience in application of Vinaya in contemporary world. May I take this opportunity to thank Venerable Santini, who very supporting, because in the beginning we had problem with the PowerPoint show, and her team helped me out of this. So also I would like to thank to all UTBSI coordinator, Most Venerable Pataloka Mahā Therī from USA, Most Venerable Santini Mahā Therī from Indonesia, Venerable Sumankala from Malaysia for their valuable suggestion, and Venerable Dhamma Mahā Therī, Dr. Liu Phap from Vietnam, and Venerable Pacittiya Therī from Australia. All these coordinators have given me the various variable suggestion to handle this Vinaya class. Special thanks goes to Most Venerable Santini Mahā Therī and her team, Venerable Vijayani and Venerable Sadhika for hosting the Zoom meeting and technical support. Last but not least, I would like to thank all participants attending the class. Without our contribution, the Vinaya class would not make possible. Next section, Pacittiya. This is very long section because we have 166 rules. That's why we need to organize twice on the 9th of August and September. And before that, we will have a special talk on Asaha on the 1st of August. I will keep you informed. And Bhikkhuni Dhamma Paripurna, your moderator. Have a good evening. Venerable Sumankala, could you please bless us with Pavatusa, please?
Venerable, I couldn't hear you clearly the last sentence. What should I do?
I would request you to bless us with Pavatusa, please. I will help. Bless us. Bless us.
Oh, the
chanting.
right. Okay. Yeah. So, dear all Mahā Therīs and all Bhikkhunis and also all the participants, I think we are glad that we have this class and to help us to practice the Dhamma Vinaya more clearly and happily, so that we can be a shining example for others and for the Buddha Sasana to continue to thrive for the well-being, happiness, and benefit of the many. So with that conclusion, it's good for us to recall to mind the blessings of the Buddha and also the Dhamma and the Sangha, and with all the merits accrued, may this be a cause and condition for your liberation, and make good aspiration, and you invoke the blessings of Triple Gem. Bhautu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba buddhan bhavina saraswati bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba dhamman bhavina Saraswati bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena saraswati bhavantu te.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu,
sadhu, sadhu. Sukhi hontu nibbana pacayo hontu.
sadhu.
Yeah.